I applied that and applied to that in 57th Street. And 57 give you a code, so once you done the show, you don't have to pay the $45 for the jury process neither. So that's what I did for both shows. So and then I sent the application for Old Town and one more that I'm forgetting which one. And Brookside.
No
The
more
two,
lakefront.
what?
No more lakefront.
Yeah, no more lakefront. But I do a little show called Lincoln, Nebraska, but they don't bring enough people to justify doing the show. But I always end doing okay, so I'm going to do it one more time and see what happens. But the problem that well, you can do Gold Coast with Amy that weekend if you want to. So because I think that's the weekend she's going to be doing it, but she hasn't put anything out yet, so I don't know. Oh, Tablet Street. I don't. That was the weekend the boardwalk used to go, and then they changed it the last 2 years. So I don't know if they're going to go back to that weekend. That's another.
You mean the end of June?
Yeah. So we see what happens. So because boardwalk used to be the backup for Lakefront, and I think Tablet Street is the second week or the third week. I don't remember which weekend it is now, but all the applications in Loring Park came up uh, live this week also. So, oh, and Erin replied my message, and she told me to apply it on their limited editions. I'm going like, okay. So,
Well, does that mean you have to number them?
they're all number. They're all my pieces are number. You know, the things that I don't put the number anymore in the front. Even the small prints I put it in. I got a white border on the paper. I put the number in there because a couple of years ago, believe it or not, people was complaining that my signature was too big. Yeah. So what I do now is everything is electronically signed, and depending on the how big is the piece, so a 30-inch image get a font of 30 inches, 30 points font. The 24 gets a 24. The 16 by 24 gets a 16-inch font from the signature, and it's fine, but it's just ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
You don't hand sign them.
No, I don't hand sign them anymore. Plus, the problem is that you do metal prints. I
And they
find out
drop
in time
shit.
they look like shit all the time because
Well-
it doesn't. They smear most of the time.
You should sign it. Don't you have your signature in the file? That
Yeah,
it's-
it's all in the file.
yeah.
So everything signatures all in the file. So I don't mess around anymore with that.
Right.
Even the 8x10s, it's digital signature now. So the only thing I put is the number by hand. And that's it. And I always ask the lab to put the number in the back, but I don't know if they actually do it or not. So
Right.
so I don't worry about it. I just keep track of it at home. When I hit the 250 of the image, I'm done with the image. Move on to the next one.
Or flip it 180 degrees.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I don't understand half of the rules now. It's just that I really don't understand. And I'm waiting for images to respond, and then I will have 7 shows in a row in Florida. For sure. So I'm really excited about that. I'm just waiting for Naples, National. I got also Bonita 3 because I didn't get the Gasparilla. And then under the Oaks of Backup Ranch. So, if I don't get to Burro Beach, I most likely will do Backup Ranch if I get in. So, we'll see what happens. But I'm a little bit concerned. Um, I got a friend that told me that he declined 4 Myers this year because um, his brother lived in the area, and he was saying that most people around the area, um, even if they not had that much damage, they still like we're out about the situation. So he doesn't know if people are going to be with the right mental set of mind going out and buy that work. So, but
Yeah, but
I don't
that's
know.
like 4 months from now.
I know. I know. Actually, 3 months from now, Larry. 3 months and 1 week.
Okay.
Who's counting?
Yeah, just don't let Sharon hear you say that.
Well, that's what I've been told. I don't necessarily agree with it. I just, you know, because I'm doing shows in Bonita, so it's not like I'm dismissing the area. So, and I'm doing a show in Naples also. So it's not like I'm afraid of that. I just think that who knows. But she's going to listen to this, and she also listen to the recording. It's funny. I was thinking that I will have more work this week, but I want to do more work before the installation, the injection. But nope, I'm booked solid after the injection. Not before the injection. It's gone like seriously.
Does that, I mean, it's worthwhile, right?
It does because right now I'm not making this up. I feel like somebody's pulling here back in my neck all the time, and I just sick and tired feeling that pressure in there. And sometimes it's like today is manageable. Other days I'm crying, you know. So, and I don't know what else I can do.
How old are you?
55, which is still
Oh,
part of this.
so you got like 10 years to go before you can collect social.
Yep. 12 years, Larry. 12.
Yeah, well.
Assuming that we have Social Security between now and then. That would be interesting.
Well, Republicans are saying they want to cut it and Medicare.
That's something that we pay for. That's not.
Yeah, I know. There's going to be a lot of lawsuits. I want my money back then.
Yeah, because I will be one of those. I want all that money and I give you back like now. No, in 5 years. No, now.
With interest, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you can start collecting Social Security early, but
I know, but
it's 8% less each year.
Yeah. So I think I can work a little bit longer. So hopefully it won't be that bad. The other thing that I find interesting this week, so it was, I've been I buy my paper for the printer from Red River Imaging, and I called them last week and said when the paper's going to be back in stock. It should be back in stock middle of last week. Okay, I text them again, and they say no, she'll be back on Friday. They still don't have it. So today I found myself looking for paper from the same company. It's the same type of paper. The only thing they want is satin, and the other one is luster. So the satin they give you for $54. They give you 100 sheets. For the luster, they give you 50 sheets. And I didn't cut down to now, and I ain't ordering 3 boxes because I want to see how it looks. But if I cannot tell the difference, I'm going to go to the luster, to the satin. I mean, it's kind of crazy. The only different one is 75 pounds, which is the luster, and the satin is 66 pounds.
That's the thickness?
Yeah. So I don't think that shouldn't make that much difference. But I just go like really like a dollar more, 50 cents more for making it a little more thicker and a different finish. So I'm looking forward to that.
So what's the difference between the two finishes?
One is satin, which is more matte, flat, and the other one is semi-gloss. Like, not semi-gloss, it's more like the other one it's not flat, but the other one is a little more, it's still it's not semi-gloss, no, they call it luster. So I cannot describe it. It's just that one is a little more shiny than the other one, but not glossy.
They're both semi-matte.
Yeah. One is a little more shiny than the other one, I think. That's the only difference.
Can you use either one?
I'm testing though. I really like the one that I want is the one that is out of stock. I really like how it feels and it looks. But it's prints for the band, so I'm going like
Yeah, it doesn't, and it's in a bag, so it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. I was thinking the same thing, that I said, like, you know what, just go with this.
So how much does each print cost?
The paper cost me this is what I was comparing to Costco, right? Because before the paper was, Costco would be like a $2 to make the print.
$2 for an 8x10?
Yep.
Used to
And the paper luster would cost me $1 plus whatever ink I use. So I was thinking maybe it cost me each print $1.20 at the most.
Yeah, but the only problem is you have to print it.
Yeah, but the way I print it is like
you let it run
everybody
overnight.
What?
You let it run overnight?
Yep, while I'm sleeping.
Yeah. Hey, it's 4:00.
Yep.
Gee, it could be a short meeting today.
Oh, could be. Do you know what hit me last week? It was Ron with the
what?
Ron was talking again about people let you do it based on sales, not on.
He's been saying that for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
25 years, whatever, as long as he's been doing shows.
Well, shops are run that way, even the commission shops. They don't want to give shelf space if you're.
Well, yeah, based on a commission, sure, because the more sales you make, the more commission they get. But
Some art fairs also work at least partially on commission.
Only the ones that you have to report your sales, or they have a central sales booth like Oklahoma City.
But
And
I think,
actually, commission shows can be very good.
Yeah.
yeah.
Other than Comic Con, the sci-fi art shows I was in would have a commission plus a less of a fee on the table or panel space. So it'd be like, $20 instead of 35 for the space, but then there was a 15% commission, which wasn't much, but that gave people that didn't want to really sell anything a little lower cost to participate.
I still think that promoters, I'm calling promoters in general, but I think the direct usually when it's doing the layout, I think that they have the right to override any person that they know that they're not going to fit into the market, So I'm assuming that they're not going to put somebody in there that doesn't going to have a chance in hell to sell anything. At least that's what I hope.
Well, I mean, how do they know?
I know, but they should have a good idea of the market that where they are, It will be like I bring this picture to Florida of from the Grand Arches Park with the storm. Everybody looks at it and stop and looks at it in Florida, but nobody buys in Florida that piece. As soon as I get to the Midwest or the West Coast, it sells like crazy. But when I'm down there, it doesn't sell.
Oh, here he is. Speak of the devil.
Who?
Hey, Ron.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Okay.
Oscar, you live in that truck or that car of yours?
That's what I said.
Yeah, it's always the same. Don't tell me that's a picture.
No, he's in
No,
his.
that's my band. I'm in my way to an installation.
Yeah.
And this is where I live when I'm doing the art shows.
See the pillows in the background? Looks all nice and comfy, but you're always there, dude.
Boy, hey, I spent this is my second home.
I know
No,
that
if you-
feeling.
Yeah, we all do.
It's my second home. I
Oh, and there's
got a
Karen.
refrigerator. I got a propane, a butane stove, so I can cook if I want to.
So where were you just this last weekend?
Nothing. I didn't do anything. I was at home.
Ah, so
I don't
you're
have
on
no
your,
shows.
you're on your way to an installation, you said?
Yeah.
Cool. Multiple pieces?
It's two pieces, but it's not my work. It's somebody else's work. So I'm just hanging out work for people. This is the lady that has half-court basketball in her basement.
Oh,
That's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because more you get to know the client, they say like, I really didn't care about this, but it wasn't the house, so oh well. That's the same thing that the CEO from Graham Barrel has. She bought the house with the condition that they would take the dog shower out because she wanted a food pantry. So they took the dog out. Fast forward 2 years later, they have a dog now, and they have to take it to the groomer or shower in the backyard. It's hilarious.
But yeah, they can always bathe her in the pantry.
Yeah. Oh my God. But
So what is oh, go ahead.
no, tell me.
No, I was wondering what people think are going to happen down in Florida, especially on the west coast of Florida, down towards the Fort Myers area, St. Petersburg, Sarasota, all those areas.
Okay, Sarasota, everything in I-4 is fine. If you're talking Fort Myers, Fort Myers is fine. The problem with Fort Myers is the people around Fort Myers got hit really bad. So if you Fort Myers Beach is gone, San Isabel is gone.
Yeah, but Fort Myers Beach is 20 miles from Fort Myers.
Yeah, so that area is bad, but Fort Myers per se is fine. There's nothing wrong with the area. The question that a lot of people are asking is if in 3 months from now, people will be ready to buy or they will forget about that at that point. I know that Naples is clean now, and Naples was not given no permits to do any events until January. So I'm doing the Naples Invitational down there. I'm doing Bonita also, and I'm doing Sarasota with Kenny. So I'm doing those 3 shows in a row. Then I got Images, and then after Images, I got Boca Raton Museum. I go back to Bonita and then Coconut Grove. Those are the shows that I got for sure. I'm still waiting for more answers.
So your feeling is that the high season, people are going to still come down to Florida, even though, especially on the West Coast, even though everything's going to be, they think everything's going to be the same, hotels are going to be available, et cetera, et cetera.
No, hotels might be different. Hotels might, that's the problem. The part that you really have to worry is hotels. Because the people that got displays, they have to move to some place. So most likely other Airbnbs are taken. Hotels are being taken. So I don't know. I was looking at prices for hotels already, and then that's what I asked my friends that I can stay with them the entire season. Even I don't like the idea to do that because the hotels was out of hand. There was like you couldn't find nothing that you want to stay on for a long period and a decent amount of money. Like I'm not willing to spend $600 for 4 days.
No, that's a lot.
That's a lot. And I don't know, and no knowing how the shows are going to go, what I'm going to put, but it's more. I think it's gas prices down there. I think lodging, food is going to be the biggest problem. I think that the show in itself, I don't think it's going to be the problem. I think that people I don't know if they're going to be buying, but it will be a good distraction. So
Yeah. I remember artists used to say when I first started doing shows full time in the late 90s, that one of the best shows they'd ever done was south of Miami Miami also after Hurricane Andrew, but that was after there was enough time to start recovery, rebuilding, insurance settlements had happened, money was available for people to go buy with. Do you think that's going to happen down there this year with not so much the East Coast, but the West Coast of Florida?
West Coast is going to be next year, not this year.
Okay.
That's my thinking. I could be totally wrong, but I think that people would think that it's going to start happening now, but I think that knowing how the process works and how long it takes to rebuild, how short-handed we have with construction workers, it might be a year before people get back to their houses. People are lucky they just only have an inch or 2 inches of water, and it's a quick, easy fix. But other people are not being that lucky, So who knows? We see what happens. The thing is if this were to happen in the East Coast, I will be scared to death because that's my stronghold. That's what I do better. I don't do as well in the West Coast, so I'm not so worried about it because I never do super well when I compare both sides of the coast. It's night and day.
Okay.
But people ask me the big difference that East Coast is Upper East upper east states, and the West Coast is mostly Midwesters.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
So that's the only thing. Other than that, everything is nobody really knows. Even the people that live down there don't know what to expect.
Yeah, and I know it's hard because you're investing money in not just jury fees, but booth fees if you get accepted, and then it's going to be okay. Like you say, hotels, are they going to be available? How expensive are they going to be? And then are people going to come? Are people going to be ready to buy? And if they're not, yeah, waiting till the next year on the West Coast might make more sense. It's hard to say because it's a lot of investment just to drive to Florida. The current gas prices for a lot of us in the Midwest, that's a big chunk of money.
Yeah, and I usually stay down there as long as I can. I don't go back and forward. And but we see. My goal is to make enough money to pay for the trip, all my bills. If I can do that, I'll be fine. So I'm going with really low expectations.
Well, we'll be rooting for you, and all the artists.
Yeah. So.
Hey, Court.
But I come here.
What's
I'm
up?
hoping to do 12.
Hi, Karen. Gotta say hello to everybody. We missed the elf,
She was
Erica.
here. She dropped out. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey. Even Court is here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's
Oh,
got
great.
his meeting tonight, right?
Yep. It's other Thursday,
No, Thursday. What day is it?
other
What
Tuesday.
Isn't
Why
it
are you
tonight?
smoking over
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
It's other Tuesday, not Thursday.
I bet. Oh my God.
What are you having for lunch, Oscar?
The company that every liberal hates.
Yeah. You know what? I've had their food only because somebody catered it in a couple times. I've never spent a dime there.
I wasn't
I got to-
impressed.
I'm going to tell you honestly, it's the best fast food right now. And so if you need to get a quick pick, forget about politics, just go and eat. Because everything else that I eat in the road fast food, the Buffer and I are friends.
You have Panda Express there?
Yeah, I do have Panda Express, but that means I need to get out of the car, sit down at the table. And sometimes I don't like to do that. I'm still thinking like at the pandemic mode, if I don't have to go inside, I don't go inside.
They had, at least here, they had, you could just go in and pick it up. I mean, you didn't have to really go.
As long as your
stand in line
vehicle,
or sit.
as long as your vehicle fits under the height restriction.
Yeah, that's another thing about Chick-fil-A. It's 9-foot ceiling clearance.
Yeah.
So the band passed in there with no problems. So no, I don't like to go to the inside the restaurants at all if I don't have to.
But it's a good suggestion. Panda Express makes great food. Holy cow.
Yeah, they do. They do.
They also
But-
have a very, I don't know, I guess you could call it liberal in the old sense of the world, charity things. If you're a registered charity, you sign up with them, and then for one day, anybody that orders using a special code number, 28% of the bill goes, or the price goes to the charity
Yeah,
And
it's a good company.
nationwide. So,
No,
No,
given
but
how bad some art shows have been of late, a charity is a good idea.
well, I mean, you could, if you have a charity group there, or if the art show is a nonprofit, art fair is a nonprofit, they can say, ask for a day, and anybody who buys anything with the code that day, 28% of their tab goes to the organization.
I'm going to put in an electronic tip jar. I'm going to use a QR code and put in an electronic tip jar in my booth.
Might as well, I mean, people have them on their websites now. And the newsletters that are sent out have, you know, buy me coffee, which is another one of those tipping things.
Yep, I'll have something set up, but that's going in next year's booth. And it'll say on it, on the QR code, said, you know, leave me a tip. If you like my work, leave me a tip.
You're gonna have a square swipe thing where they can tap their credit card and give you a tip? You should.
You know, I might, but that's a little, a long time, but I thought for a long time I should literally put a tip jar out. Hey, if somebody left a nickel or some shows, that would have been my, you know, the only money I took home.
I know the feeling. You know, sometimes when I saw the shows, like now that I'm doing just installations, I got in the square, I activated the tip part. And sometimes when I do the shows, I forget to turn that off. And sometimes people actually paying you more than what they should. But so who knows?
Well, just make sure you report it at the end of the year as income.
What tips?
Yeah.
I report everything, you know. I don't cut corners or anything like that. I report everything. And the main reason is after the PPP loan was the reason why I started doing that. It was like you need to show proof of income big time to get good money out of it. So I was foolish about it, you know, but now I report everything.
I just went with unemployment, which
Well,
was great the first year because it was $600 a week.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think a lot of the PPP loans were forgiven, weren't they?
Yeah.
As long as it went to certain categories of expenses, didn't cover everything.
Right. Most of it had to go to
Employee-
payroll.
Payroll.
Yeah, payroll.
But as an independent artist, I checked, and what I did is the PPP went into my business account, and then I wrote myself a check for it had to be 2/3 or something like that. I wrote myself a check for 2/3, put it in my personal bank account. And then, you know, as I needed money in the business, I just slid money back from my personal account back into the business like I've always done.
And that was another thing that I learned. I didn't have a business account at that point because the people of PNC told me not to do it back then. And that was another thing that I regret not having. But that's a lot of things that I learned from the PP, that experience, you know. So now I'm a little more legit.
I've always had a separate business account, separate business insurance, separate business account.
No, I always had the separate business insurance and everything else, but basically what was happening is if you wasn't, this was maybe 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, right after the scam thing, I had to close my business account and the personal account. When I went to PNC, that asked me how many checks you get. You guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me hold a second.
Hey, while we're here, Judy, do you have any intention of applying to Moines? You're muted.
Me?
Judy,
No, I hadn't even thought about it.
no?
I normally don't go north if I don't have to. Is it a good show?
Yeah, it's a good show, and for the first 48 hours, they have a discount on the jury fee.
Is it open now?
Yeah, it opened today.
Oh, I'll look at it. When is it?
End of June, isn't it, Oscar?
Nah, I think it's before end of June. Closer to mid-June, maybe,
Oh, that's not bad though. Okay.
like third week, something like that. I will tell you, it is a very long, grueling show to do.
Why
Long
so?
hours. Long hours. It can be extremely hot. And it's a great show for some artists. And I've done it 2 or 3 times and have never made money there.
What do you make?
I'm a black and white photographer.
Thought on that. Why not? Is it that they're just not black and white friendly, or
Just not my crowd.
What's
I
your
think
price?
my price point starts at $25, goes to $50, and then jumps from 50 to 200, 250. And most of the work I have hanging on the wall is 350 to 2,000.
which I don't think that's ever been an issue price point with Iowa though, is it? With the Des Moines people?
I don't know. Barry Bernstein says it's one of his best shows.
I think part of the issue I've had, it was my location. The first year I did it, I was in the far opposite corner from the main booth. And, I was one booth in from being on the far outside corner. And we didn't see as much traffic down there as I saw in other parts of the show.
Ouch.
The next time I did it, I was in a similar location. But instead of booths just on one side of the street, there were booths on both sides of the street. So it drew a little more traffic, but it wasn't my crowd. Didn't seem to be, at least the people that came into my booth didn't seem to be as, trying to put this without sounding arrogant, as sophisticated buyers. They were looking for more pretty pictures and
Maybe
not
they were
artwork.
thinking the same thing.
Huh?
Maybe they were thinking the same thing.
Might be. That was the show where I almost took a guy, wrapped his dog leash around his neck and put his dog down his throat.
Oh, God.
It was early one. The show had just opened. And guy walking his dog, smaller dog on a retractable leash. He and the woman with him stopped to chat with another group of people about 5 feet in front of my booth out in the sun. The dog was hot, walked into my booth and laid down in the shade just inside my booth with this thin leash cutting across the 5 feet directly in front of my booth. And even after a lady almost tripped, they stayed there, totally oblivious.
Too bad you didn't have a pair of scissors.
So yeah, I was, do you be the jerk artist and ask them to move, or do you just tolerate it?
I think I would have asked him to move.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of artists do well at that show. It's a well done show. It's load in and load out is pretty easy. Artist parking is kind of a hike. It's not terrible. Depending upon where you are in the show. I was in the end closer to the artist parking, so it wasn't as bad for me. Stephen King always does a great show. It's just not my crowd.
Do you notice what does sell by what people are carrying or talking?
I saw lots of stuff. Again, where I was, I didn't see a lot of traffic because I was, out on a corner. The show's basically laid out along 2 streets with a park in between.
An issue with water because it's going to cause.
And the main entrance was the other end of the show. So I didn't, like I said, I didn't get a chance to see a lot of people walking by.
That's when I saw you last time over there.
Yeah, I did the show. I got in last year and canceled because of gas prices and because I didn't have a good track record there. I did it the year before, the year coming out of COVID.
Hey, I just got an interesting message on Facebook. Julius Irving is doing some kind of project with a gym in New Jersey that they're opening, and they want to use one of my pictures of him in a mural.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, probably don't want to pay me anything.
I will say one quick thing about Des Moines and the early half-price registration. I a lot of times am curious about how different parts of my work jury. And so I often use Des Moines. Actually, I submit 2 entries to Des Moines with different bodies of work. And it's been interesting in years past to see what got accepted in Des Moines and what got me into other shows. And in the past, the work that got me into Des Moines was not the work that got me into places like Cherry Creek and St. Louis.
Hey, when you apply with 2 different bodies of work, does that mean you can only have one of them in your booth if that's what gets accepted?
When I talk about bodies of work, it's a matter of
Different images.
Different, like I have a lot of old churches. Do I apply with the old churches? Do I apply with my just kind of eclectic mix of rural images? Do I apply with my front porches? And whatever I apply with is what I'll show primarily. It doesn't mean I won't show a few of the others.
The Winter Park doesn't allow you to do that because it's per category.
Right. So then some shows only let you, some shows do that. Des Moines, I think, is unusual that you can do multiple applications in the same category.
Huh. That would be interesting. Because I would send another application then tonight. So
They've done it for quite a few years because I've always, I don't know, like the last 4 or 5 times, last 4 or 5 years I've applied, I've done that. Done 2 entries with 2 different, I won't say bodies of work, but 2 different subject matters of images.
Well, they let you do that at Artisphere too, because when there was a break on Saturday when I went, I asked Robin about that. And she said, just next year, do 2 separate bodies of work. And yours look good, Oscar, by the way.
thank you. I don't think I'm going to get in. So I don't even holding my breath on that one.
No, I never do.
So
That was a lot of nice work.
yeah,
But it's amazing. It's amazing still that, well, when I first started applying, I didn't know Jack. And so many people still don't. And there's people that have no booth shot or people in their booth or signage or it has a huge background of outside space. It's amazing.
Well, I'm going to tell you, every time I apply to a new set, I always ask Larry, Carla, David, and I post it in different groups to see what people think. I don't necessarily go with what I think. I think that one of the things that people make a mistake that they get too close to their own work and don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't see it what you're doing
Right.
wrong.
Yeah.
So having a second opinion is always a blessing if you can.
Yeah, at least one.
Yeah.
I found out the hard way that subtle doesn't work.
Yeah. That's also true. Also true. So what is your next show, Kurt?
I'm going to go see Bonnie in February, but I'm probably looking at doing really, really limited shows next year. I'm in the process of redoing my work. I'm about to, one of the things I got to do tonight is order an all new ink set for my printer so I can start doing digital negatives. And I'm seriously considering moving to platinum palladium prints.
So what is a platinum palladium print?
It is a hand coated, well, it uses platinum and palladium as the material for the imaging as opposed to silver in a traditional darkroom print. It is
And you're using an enlarger, right?
no, you're using a digital negative and making contact print.
Oh, okay.
You can actually work in subdued room light, and it uses ultraviolet exposure. So you have to you can literally put the thing in a contact frame and walk outside and expose it outside, like doing a cyanotype.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you come in and you have a one or two step process and a wash. But you literally hand coat the paper, take a special paper, and then you hand coat it with emulsion, either with a paintbrush or glass rod, and let it dry for a day or so. And then I'll be creating a digital negative and then contact print it.
So you're doing Platino types, or?
Yeah.
But that's not going to be brown all the time?
They're a little bit warmer, but
Yeah.
the process is humidity plays a huge part in the process, and there's other things you can do to alter the kind of the color. You can also tone them afterwards, but because you're hand coating things and because of all the variables, no two prints are ever going to be the same. There's always going to be differences between the prints. So in essence, I'll be doing one of a kinds.
Yeah, my first mentor that's what she specialized in Platino types, and she will shoot it with 8x10 contact printed, or sometimes she will enlarge it to 16x20 when you used to get the film, the litho film, and just print it in there to produce a negative. It's a fun process. The only one that could afford from doing those was cyanotypes. Everything else was like out of my price range. That's going to be expensive, Kurt.
Yeah, a like 20 milliliter bottle of emulsion is close to $400.
Yeah, that's going to be expensive. Really, really expensive.
So the price point on my prints is going to go way up. I won't be doing small prints for cheap. I will still do some inkjet prints. I'll still do the $25 to $50 inkjet prints. I've got to have something in that low end. But you know, I don't hang anything smaller than a 20 by 24 frame on the wall. And that's about a 16 by 20 print. I will probably hang some, go back to doing 16 by 20 frames because of the cost of doing the prints and doing some smaller prints. I'm also looking at doing, and I don't know how to present them to a jury yet, but I'm also looking at doing groupings of prints and selling stories.
All within the same frame.
No, multiple framed pieces.
The one thing you're going to have to get for sure, so you get consistent through the year, is a sun lamp or UV bulbs. Because depending on the sun of the year, it's going to change how fast it's exposed or not.
Right. I have an old light table, graphic arts light table, that I'm going to take the, I've got to see what kind of bulb is in it and see if I can replace it with a UV bulb.
Yeah, because
And
now you're going to go nuts.
yeah, because I won't ever use sunlight because I've got to have a consistent,
Yeah.
I have to have a consistent, you know, light source to be able to print.
What about the grow lights? Those
They're,
are all UV, I think.
well, the emulsion is very sensitive to a very slim wavelength of light. It's 360 nanometers, I think, is it.
Does it have an ASA rating or an equivalent?
No. It may somewhere, but again, each emulsion is different. And I'm going to start with Cone Additions emulsions, and they've got a couple, I think they have 2 different emulsions that you can buy, or you can mix them. And again, that's where, you know, you get different colors, different tones.
Well, if you do it, it's going to be fun, but it's a high risk, high reward.
I want to, you know, I don't do big, you know, I do the opposite of what you do, Oscar.
No, I
and
know.
because
I
I
know.
don't do big prints, I think I'm in, part of my problem is my price range is awkward and I need to up my price range. And I need to have a reason for upping my price range. That's why I'm going with multiple prints and going with the platinum palladium.
You should do good, I think. You know, the main thing is to do something that nobody else is doing. Because that's the, you know, today I hang a couple of pieces for Mark Hirsch. And he does like he merged old Chicago pictures, so it could be in a city with the new city, how it looks now. And I was talking to him today. It's you can say it's a gimmick, but he does it so well that you cannot tell where the old image starts and where the new image begins.
Yeah, I love his work. It's great, and he picks wonderful scenes, you know, wonderful locations, and it's got to be tough because you've got to have a good image to start with.
Yeah. So he does it. You know, today I hang 2 more of his, and he's doing well. You know, so that show is one of the kind.
You know, people, Oscar, people are buying your work to, you know, a big piece to put behind the couch. I'm looking for something that's going to go down a hallway, or maybe in a guest room or an office or conference room, you know, something where people are going to be up close and personal
Yeah.
with the prints.
It's a different market, you know. I didn't even know what. Quite honest with you, I didn't even know sometimes where people are going to put it. You know, I just grateful that they buy it. You know, that's the way I feel about it.
My best sale ever was at Cherry Creek, and they put the work went on in a stairwell. There was a landing, and the big piece went on the landing, and then he put smaller pieces either leading up, two smaller pieces on either side of it, one going up, one below it and one above it.
That's awesome. I was listening to an interview from Taylor Swift, and this cracked me up. She released by mistake 7-second of static noise in Canada, and she was in shock herself that 7 seconds of static show became the #1 song in Canada. If anybody can do something like that, it's just insane. So just to give you an idea how people are. Oh my goodness. Hey Larry,
Yeah.
do you really think I should mark it up 4 times the metal prints?
What?
Do you really think I should mark up the metal prints 4 times what it cost me?
I don't know. Are you making enough money to keep buying them?
Well, do you know what? I'm making enough money to keep buying them, but I went to do close to the month of October, and I took a glance at how much money I gave Black River this year, and I almost pee my pants. $30,000.
But
I was like,
how much did you make from that?
110.
Okay.
I think 110, but that's include also the print. So I don't know exactly how much I made of the metal print, but I know that I'm not selling enough to justify to make that much difference. So say that I make 90 out of that.
Why don't you just raise the prices on your bigger ones?
I mind doing that. That might not be a bad idea, because that might justify it better.
I mean, everybody expects prices to go up, especially now.
Yeah. It's just that it's one thing when you buy it like a once or twice every week, and another one is seeing the whole number at the end of the year, you go like holy cow. That's a lot of money. Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of money, but if you're, if it's profitable,
I know it
spending it.
is. Yeah, it's just, I just in shock. That's all. I hope that I can keep up from here on like this, because I got really lucky this year. So who knows? That's what I'm scared about next year. Ron, you're really quiet over there.
Listening.
Listening. Listening. Oh, I had to put the air conditioner running because the phone was getting too hot. That's what I cut off for a second. It went off because it was too hot. And I go like, seriously? I should be facing not the sun.
Well, folks, I think I'm going to drop out. I've got to get a couple things done today, and I have to get dinner fixed.
I won't be seeing you tonight.
Well, why not?
I'm going to the Grateful Dead movie.
Oh, okay. So
it's a 1972 concert from their European tour. It's going to be streamed to theaters all over the country tonight.
That's awesome.
All right.
Yeah, have a good time.
Yep.
I will talk to
would-
everybody later.
Yeah,
right.
See you
well,
later tonight.
Bye.
Nice seeing you again, Court. So it's just us.
Yes.
yeah. So we all gonna go eat up all the leftover Halloween candy tonight?
Oh, hell no. I was so glad I didn't buy Halloween candy. Nobody ring the doorbell.
I can't eat that stuff.
No, exactly. You
Yeah,
know, the most funny thing is my sister buy candy and she's pre-diabetic, and I go like, why are you buying candy? You shouldn't be eating that stuff.
yeah, but if they'd have told us that when we were kids growing up, we didn't know how to swear then, but we would have come up with something comparable, you know? That was so much fun as a kid, wasn't it? Going around the homes and having people open the door and welcome you and here, reach in and grab what you want. And then
Yeah,
you come back and you dump it all out and see what you got. And it's like, wow,
Yep.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but back then you also you'd make things to give out.
Yeah,
I remember we
Yeah.
made popcorn balls every year.
yep. And then all that stuff started with razor blades and apples and all that kind of stuff and kind of soured the making stuff yourself.
yeah. That's so sad. So sad.
Yeah, and I saw some news piece yesterday where it was in Cincinnati where they're trying to make Halloween be on a Saturday or Sunday, regardless of what day it actually falls on. And I thought, God, that's kind of sad. You know?
Well, you can celebrate any day you want to, but it will not be practical for the kids to celebrate on a Monday. That's what I think. So
Well, but I believe Halloween has a significance of being before whatever November 1st is.
Yeah.
All Saints Day.
All
That's what,
Saints Day. Yeah,
that's what I have behind me.
yeah.
Dia de los Muertos.
Sort of like changing Thanksgiving or Christmas or something to a Saturday or Sunday. It's just like, no, leave it where it is. It's just,
Well, they've done it with everything else practically. I mean,
they don't with Thanksgiving, do they?
no, Thanksgiving was declared to be that Thursday before the last weekend in November. But
Christmas doesn't change, does it? Do you?
Christmas doesn't, and 4th of July doesn't, and Veterans Day doesn't, but the president birthdays all got changed to a Monday. And Memorial Day got changed to a Monday. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's but you mind moving Christmas? It's how crazy, God. It would be sacrilegious to do that. You will never hear the end of it.
Oh, I don't know. They changed what? They changed the Easter was about Christ arising from the grave, and they turned that into bunnies and chocolate bunnies and all that kind of stuff. Nobody ever said a thing about
it's
that.
still on Sunday though.
Is it still on a Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
but it still depends on.
Well, just out of
Who you
curiosity,
ask.
back in the days of the early Christian thing, when did I thought the Monday through Sunday was created by the Romans, weren't they?
Yeah.
There wasn't any 7-day week back at
Oh.
0.
Yeah, it was because the Jewish calendar was a 7-day.
And that was in place.
That was in place. That I guess the Christians took it from there. Because Jesus was Jewish.
Keep in mind the Christians still, at least Catholics, they still read both sides of the Bible. The New Testament and the Old Testament.
Traditional Chinese calendar was 3 10-day weeks. That's why the New Year's always moves around, because every once in a while they have to add a month in.
Really? Wow.
So
So next year, there are going to be 13 months.
some years there is, I don't know. It just depends. Like some years, Chinese New Year's will be in January. Sometimes it's like almost the end of February. And it just varies because they do it differently.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now they
Wow.
follow the Western calendar though, because that's universal. Same thing for Japan. They don't follow a lunar calendar anymore, except certain religious groups. Then they'll celebrate both New Years.
Wow.
Stupid
Yeah.
question. I think this weekend is when we have to turn the clocks back an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you get an hour more sleep, supposedly.
No,
My
I
dog
get
Still
more.
gonna be getting
Well-
up at the same time.
I get one more hour. Torture me.
Well, it just means that my dogs will be getting up at 3:30 instead of 4:30.
That is. You got it. I'm going to have a cat in my chest at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it would be harsh. It would be harsh.
It's harsh. It happens every morning.
My father's cat used to sit on his chest and he'd start to fall back asleep and then she'd bite him on the nose.
Yeah.
His nose was always messed up from it. And each time she'd go flying across the room because he'd go, "Ah!" But it didn't seem to dissuade her.
That's good.
Oh,
Well, on that note, I got to check out, but everybody have a good week to come and good delivery, Oscar. And you guys all take care. See you next week.
Oh,
yep. See,
All right.
okay, bye-bye, Ron.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we might as well end it
Okay.
before Oscar's phone blows up.
Okay.
yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.